point kids in the middle of the road at 4:00 in the morning.
What?
That's a fight in Montauk these days.
Can I hear that story?
I mean, I don't know. I go to bed at 8, but yeah, the fights are in either 7-Eleven or weirdly in the middle of the road between the Montauk, the Memory Motel and the Point.
Do you ever feel like there's any resentment of the people who grew up out there towards people who've moved out there later on in their lives? Do you ever feel that?
I have 2 cents on this. You want to go first?
I mean, you could go first. I've got the point of view from making the usual and then just like having a house and being a human.
Yeah.
I think the people that aren't from there think about that a lot. Mm-hmm. And the people that are do not give a shit. They really don't. And I've like discussed this like with my son who, you know, he's 17 and he has a lot of buddies out there that have grown up there their whole life. Yeah. And they're basically like, we don't care. we don't care. This is like some, you know, something that people who aren't from here focus on and think it's a thing. Like, as long as you don't act like a complete asshole in town, they just don't care. Like, you don't exist to them. Mm-hmm. You know, like some of these guys, especially like with surfing, like they've been surfing together since like as long as they could walk. And they're going to be out there with their friends and you just don't exist to them. Like, they don't even notice you.
Like housing costs? Like, let's say you grow up there, you know, and then you want to live there, and owning a place is really difficult now, I imagine.
People are hustling to make it happen, and people are making it happen, you know? Sometimes there's, you know, kids like living together, you know, as young adults in like one place, and there's always some angle to make it happen, you know? And some of the realtors out there, you know, that are from there are very cool, and they're trying to put homes that come on the market into the hands of people that grew up there and trying to make that happen. So there's some altruism, and it's, you know, there is some good stuff happening on that front.
Emily, I want to hear your perspective.
I mean, it's like there's like not much that I don't like to talk about, but I would say this subject is probably one of them. I think one thing I can say is when Yasha Wallen and I started The Usual around like 2006, it was called A Love Letter to Montauk, and really what we were trying to do was kind of use the magazine as a vehicle to talk to all these amazing people out there. So it was super successful, but I think people kind of saw it as a surf magazine, and because I would describe myself kindly as the world's worst surfer, people were like, shh. There was a lot of people, there was a sentiment that I shouldn't be making a surf magazine, which it wasn't. Yeah. And I think there was a little unkindness and rub there because I had come, and so it's like, who are you to make a love letter to Montauk? But I felt like I had seen Montauk very clearly because I had come with these like fresh, open eyes. So I think people really responded well, ultimately, to my love letter to Montauk.
How many years ago was that?
It's 2011, right? Or no?
Can you tell me when it was?
Like,
I did it for about 5 years. But it was when Instagram came out and we wanted to make something that was like anti-digital. And it was like free, no advertising. And it was just like great.
It was beautiful.
Content. It was beautiful. It was also just funny. And, you know, it was very funny and very irreverent. And
it's funny. Some of that animosity that you're sort of touching on, it's only around in the summer because it's just like the town
resources
jumps like 10x in terms of like human capacity. And then after Labor Day, when everybody leaves and it mellows out again, it just sort of all subsides with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I only made the paper in the summer, so maybe if I had tried to put out a November issue, people would have been like, yo, Emily, this is so cool. But it was a summer thing.
But you know a lot of people in town. A lot of people from every little nook and cranny of like activities that are going on there. Emily knows somebody.
Yes.
Like she is a woman about town.
Yeah, so it's like everybody does know me. For like a little English person, like everybody does know me. Or as soon as I open my mouth, they're like, "Oh, we heard you screaming about tomato cost in IGA once." So like, screaming at a bartender.
These tomatoes.
My champagne wasn't cold enough.
$1 per tomato?
Or you're like,
insane?
or you're
They're
like
not
out
even
like
heirloom
clamming
tomatoes.
with like a bunch of random people. You know, like just
I do a lot of random shit because I think it comes back to being a creative. I'm always looking for different conversations, good or bad.
Of course.
Clamor, fisherman, this, that. I think in the winter people are more open, but I would say that I had my last negative thing was at the beginning of COVID because there's only one hospital far away. And I had a lot of very close local friends that were a little bit peeved that I had come to Montauk because it wasn't my home, but it is actually my home because my other home is in England and I own a house here. So I found that was a bit of a rub.
Yeah.
Not feeling wanted in my own town because of hospital beds.
Yeah, I remember when everything happened during COVID, I remember seeing some people posting some things who will remain nameless, but it was like, don't come out here and spread COVID and, use up all our resources and all that sort of stuff. And obviously, you had like a run on the supermarkets, and toilet paper was gone. And
not me. I only use one piece per toilet visit.
Spare square?
Yes. Sorry, Greg.
I just ran the garden hose into the back of the house.
Yes, you did.
I made my own makeshift bidet, which was kind of cool.
When COVID happened, that first few months,
you got to be talking about creative.
Were huge.
Yeah.
It was all about the bidet.
I mean, there are finite resources in Montauk, and that's what makes it so wonderful. But I don't think it should feel like survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so fit, so I survived. I guess I don't know. But yeah, it's fine.
No, it's interesting because I look like I experience that, because I see it in lots of parts of all over the world, to be honest. But like lots of parts of New York, even like Rockaway, you have like a lot of older crew, and some people are resentful of the newer people who come in, and there are parts of Long Island which have similar things, similar, kind of resentments. But ultimately, like, I think a lot of times it ends up being to everyone's benefit. And a lot of those people end up benefiting from a lot of the people who come in there, and a lot of them make a really nice living off of that. So it's always funny when I see people kind of bitch and complain about it.
It's happening less and less, I think.
Yeah.
Or like you just sort of, like we've talked about before, you dial your mind into this frequency where you just sort of avoid that negative energy.
Totally.
And it just doesn't exist. You meet people, you're friendly to them, they're friendly back to you, you make new friends, there's always a good vibe out there. You just need to sort of find it,
Yeah,
and
you have to find it.
Yeah. And if you're just a cool person, it sort of finds you also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some of your work that's based around Montauk.
Yes, please do, because I love talking about that. My two favorite things, my work and my favorite place on the planet.
She's very humble, by the way.
Oh, sorry. I didn't tell you it was amazing work. I said I wanted to talk about it.
For all of you, her website is Little English Genius, right?
LittleEnglishGenius.com. If you're going to sell it, sell the whole thing.
Oh, sorry.
But can I tell you how I ended up with that?
How?
Because an internet millionaire back in the day when you were only an internet millionaire bought me EmilyAnderson.com. And then I was like, oh, thank you so much. But I was like 18 years old. I just graduated from art school on my way to New York. Mm-hmm. And then I did 2 years of ski seasons. And I didn't realize that that I didn't own EmilyAnderson.com for the rest of my life. And then I didn't check my email for 2 years because I was skiing. You know what I mean? I mean, who checks your email when you're a seasoner?
That's right.
So I lost EmilyAnderson.com. Oh. And I was so livid when I came back to New York the next summer. And some wedding lady called Emily Anderson had it that I needed. So I just played off my nickname, Little English Genius.
I like that.
I just want everyone to know that my first choice wasn't that. EmilyAnderson.com was my first choice.
Yes. Of course. Yeah. No. You don't think of yourself in those terms.
I mean.
What did you name your house, by the way?
Oh, the Naughty Bird.
The Naughty Bird.
Yeah, but like...
Yeah, see, wait a second. That's exactly what I thought, too.
But it's the naughty...
Because in Montauk, there's lots of fishing, so you have lots of knots.
With a K.
Yes, Knotty. But it sounds, when I say it, like Naughty Bird.
Yeah. That's what I always thought it was. She's like, welcome to the Naughty Bird. And I was like, what?
No, Naughty Bird.
I was thinking it was a wood... wood panel house with lots of knots in it.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
I was thinking
correct.
Like naughty female, as in I want to be spanked.
Spicy Tabasco, or whatever we were talking about earlier. So let me tell you, he was very disappointed when he came out.
There's a segue to her work in there somewhere.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of your films that you made.
Great. And if I don't want to talk about them, I'll just say pass.
Yeah, that's right.
Or I'll just talk about another film.
That's right. Only the Wind is Listening. I really enjoyed that.
I know, me too.
It was really beautiful. And this was this was like your first narrative?
My first narrative short film around Montauk. And I loved it, but then I really loved it over COVID because I felt like I was living the heroine's life, where like every day she just sat at her desk and worked, and she would take like weird walks just to meet people.
And go to the liquor store and buy copious amounts of wine.
Yes. And, I love the guy from the liquor store, Tom Phillips, from White's Liquors. Everybody go there. He's let me film there twice.
Nice.
Inside and outside. And once he even got his neon sign fixed because I filmed outside, but he couldn't afford to get all the letters fixed. So the O did not get fixed.
Yeah, Tom, he's a legend.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Did you want to know about the film? Just not about my liquor store.
The liquor store is a very prominent role in that. It's a great character.
It's the fucking lifeblood of the town, man, next to Montauk Beer and Soda.
That's right. And, it provides like this interesting, so for our listeners, it follows two characters. One is a fisherman who clearly is going through something personal. May have lost his wife, but we don't totally know because it's like all visual, which is beautiful. And then this female writer who is out in Montauk writing, and they both have like a little bit of a drinking problem, or they
were just supposed to be recreational drinkers, but okay.
Supposed to be recreational. Well, it clearly was like, it kind of leaned towards gray winter.
Oh, interesting.
And, definitely felt like, these people are drowning their sorrows.
Yes.
In alcohol. And even one where the fisherman, he's like, someone asks, "Are you okay? You should go home." It was like kind of definitely like this moody, beautiful film. Like you tell this incredible story visually, and also the music I really enjoyed.
Thank you. That was Carl Westman, who's like he lives in West Hampton. He's a sailor.
Really?
He's a real big deal. Like he was actually the head of music at Ogilvy, so that's where I met him. Yeah.
Oh wow, it was really nicely done. But it's this moody story where these characters like meet each other at the end, but this liquor store is actually the place where they both frequent. They just keep missing each other almost. I
think it was obviously based on my experiences living in Montauk in the winter, which is like, I'm not a writer, but I'm out there just... I write, but, I'm constantly working on films, writing, drawing. I make stop motion animations. And then I just get so lonely, I'll just like go and buy a piece of fish so I can talk to someone, or I'll go to the liquor store and buy like a $9 bottle of wine because that's all I can afford, just because I like need some like human interaction. So that's where the story came from. And Thomas, actually the guy that plays the role of the fisherman, he was like, the story has come from like truth, right? So I would talk to people, and he said sometimes it's like only the wind is listening, and I was like, that's the title of the film. And it premiered at Hampton's Film Festival, which was awesome because all my friends from Montauk came, and it was really cool.
Do you have a packed crowd?
We had a packed crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I also want to talk about music for Montauk.
Oh, huh.
Because I really love that, particularly because you used the song, the quartet for the End of Time.
Oh, my God. The most depressing piece of music.
Seriously.
I mean, I was very excited. They were like classical music film for Montauk. I love classical music, and I don't know if you know how I feel about Montauk. But... I don't
know at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I'm pretty ambivalent about it. I could take or leave it.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. The wind's a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
I would describe it as painful to listen to.
Well,
hopefully.
What's the history behind this song? Because that's what's really fascinating.
Yes. Well, it originated in World War II in a prisoner of war camp.
It's a very uplifting, very uplifting topic.
Yes. Yeah. And so why they wanted to make it was because they got permission to everything kind of came together. They got permission to film in Camp Hero, which also has that kind of like very eerie kind of like bunker quality. Yeah. And it was basically 4 men that were in prison together that all were like, one was an atheist, one was a Jew, one was a Catholic, and someone else. So they came together to make this like incredible piece, and then the guards let them like perform the piece for all the prisoners. Wow. So that's how the piece originated. And it's basically around this biblical part of the Bible. Sorry, it's the biblical part of the Bible, not the non-biblical part. The God hates
Thank you for clarifying that for us.
It's around, I've forgotten the word, Reformation. It's around this huge where there was like kind of like light in the darkness. The word was going to come to me.
Genesis?